It's time for a new episode of Sit Down with the Supt. In this episode, how new COVID testing in our schools is helping keep students safe and in the classroom. Plus, putting students first, how a new replacement levy will help preserve valuable student programs like fine arts and sports. And a crashing good time, how students are learning about physics and career opportunities by crashing model cars. And now your host, Craig Bernbach, and Superintendent Mike Merlino.
Hello and welcome to Sit Down with the Supt. I'm Craig Bernbach, the Communications Manager here at Evergreen Public Schools, and your host for this conversation with Superintendent Mike Merlino. As always, the goal of the show is to keep you up to date on what's going on in the district and have Superintendent Merlino directly address the issues and questions that students, staff, and families have been asking. Now, before we begin our conversation with Superintendent Merlino, we know we're headed into the holidays, which means the threat of severe weather is becoming more of a factor. So we wanted to remind you that this year, if we have severe weather issues, we could do a late start, an early dismissal, or cancel school altogether. But we won't be switching to a remote learning option. For more information on how we'll communicate this news, you can click on the District Alerts section on our website. But don't worry, when an announcement about weather is made, we'll distribute that information very quickly via school messenger, social media, the website, flash alert, and of course through your local media outlets. And with that, I want to welcome in Superintendent Mike Merlino. And Mike, last time we sat down here, did a sit down with the Supt, we were just getting ready to open up school and have all the kids back. We're about 3 months in. How do you feel things are going?
I feel things are going really well. Considering what we came back to, having students be away from school for the amount of time that they were, I think the early weeks were really just kind of trying to reacclimate kids and staff to where we were a few years ago, but just very happy. Everywhere I go, I've had an opportunity to go out to all the elementary schools, some of the middle schools, the high schools. Everyone is so happy to have their students back in school. I'm extremely grateful for our staff, the hard work that they put forth for our kids every day. Our families, I would say that the challenges that we've had have been primarily still kind of COVID related, whether that's contact tracing that folks have worked through, making sure that we're following all the protocols, which of course we are, to keep everyone safe. But I think it probably was maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks to kind of get into the routine. When I've been out visiting, you clearly see our folks getting into the routines around instruction and professional development for our staff. It's really great to see our kids back. It's great to see here we're kind of at the end of the fall sports season, so we've got kids competing in athletics, we've got concerts occurring, we've got plays happening in our high school. It's very nice to see all of these things happening. These are the things that kids love about school, families love about school, so just very thankful to have everyone back and kind of getting through that first little stretch and now heading into the holidays and being able to kind of step back and see where we're at and as we move forward for the second part of the year.
Yeah, hearing those sounds of school, like those things you mentioned.
Yeah.
We did get past certain things. I know the COVID-19 vaccine mandate for staff was a big issue. Over 99% of our staff complied with that. I know parents and families want to know, did the mandate affect our day-to-day operations?
Really did not. I think that there was the unknown of how all of our staff would react. There was a little bit of a fear initially with respect to, were we going to have shortages of staff, anything like that. Very grateful again that we did have over 99% compliance, and of the 99%, I think it was over 91% of our staff fully vaccinated, and then we had the 8% roughly with exemptions. So no, I would say the impact of the mandate, while there was some concern about what it would be, and I'm, individuals obviously had to react as they reacted as a system. The mandate didn't cause an impact on our system. I would say, however, though, just generally, We still struggle filling all of our positions, not because of the mandate. We've kind of struggled with that all year long. We've struggled a bit with substitutes, finding substitutes. So I would encourage anyone that's watching, that's interested in applying for a job in the district, go to our website. We've got still a number of open positions. If you want to sub, we do a lot of work to try to support folks coming in to go through an emergency substitute process to become substitutes in our district as well. But no, the mandate, we're thankful and grateful how our employees reacted to that, and we're in good shape with respect to that.
Excellent, that's good news. Of course, people want to know, we're here about, here headed towards the holidays. Do you expect any major changes to COVID rules and regulations? And of course, the one thing people want to know, do you expect there to be a student mandate for the COVID-19 vaccine this school year?
Yeah, I don't expect that. Everything that we've heard from Olympia, from Superintendent Reichdahl has been, it won't happen. It will not happen this school year. We don't expect to see any requirement. Of course, I think our over 12 students, 6th graders and above, have had the opportunity to be vaccinated, but just recently the 5 to 11 age students, vaccination has been made available. I know that has caused some question for parents. It's come up a number of different ways to us. Is this something that we're going to require? I first would say the district would never make that mandate ourselves. Any kind of requirement always comes from Olympia, comes from the Department of Health. That being said, I do not anticipate that happening this school year, no.
As you mentioned, the vaccines now are available for kids 5 and up. Other questions we get is, will there be vaccination clinics run by the schools or in our schools? I know there's a difference there.
Yeah, we will not have any kind of district-sponsored vaccination events. We have been contacted by some outside agencies, nonprofits, health groups about potentially doing after-hour vaccination clinics or weekend. I think that there's a possibility of that occurring, sponsored by these outside groups where they would contract with the district for rental space in our facilities after hours or on weekends. So I think there's a possibility you might see that, but we will not have any district-sponsored events.
And that goes to our building rentals, which, luckily we just reopened that opportunity, so more groups are going to be able to use.
We made the decision here recently to reopen our facilities, particularly hoping that our kids that want to participate in things like Y basketball or there's just a lot of different activities that our kids need to be participating in. And so while we absolutely want to make sure that we're following all protocols, we felt it was important to open our buildings back up to the community so that some of those things could take place. And kids that might not have other opportunities to access whatever the activity might be will have the ability to access those activities.
You talked about when one of the challenges, contact tracing, that is a bear for our staff and gets a little bit confusing and difficult for our families at times, but really good news. At this point, we have COVID-19 testing in all our schools. How has that been a game changer here?
I think it's been a game changer in a few different ways. First of all, it's a game changer for our students because our students having access to testing at the school, it allows us to show a negative test and have that student return to school and not be put out for a period of days or even weeks because of being exposed somewhere to COVID in some other spot. So it's allowing our students to get back into class more rapidly, which is great. They have more access to the instruction that they need and that we want to provide. I think it's been great for our families because in the community there was a period of time, and it may still be happening right now, where it was a struggle to get tested, to find places to get tests. In order to come back to the school, a home test wouldn't allow that to occur based upon the protocols driven from the Department of Health and the Clark County Department of Health. So having the test on site means more access, more quick access to instruction. Having them on site means our families have their children in school, so it's better for families that way as well. And also, many of these tests end up, you'd have families trying to contact a doctor. Insurance may or may not cover that. Now you've got an out-of-pocket cost of couple $100. So that takes that away as well. So it's really been a great thing. Really appreciative of our building staff, as well as the district office staff that kind of did the coordination work with ESD 112 locally as well to help support that. We've got the supply of tests. We get them out to the buildings. It's really worked out quite well. Very, very good thing.
And we have COVID captains in all our buildings, and we have meetings for those, and we discuss not just the testing, but of course the flow charts, which also come down from the Department of Health. And I know at times those can be frustrating, but we basically just update them and
I guess what I would just say is that I do think that the flow chart, not necessarily the flow chart or the concept of a flow chart, I think the concept of a flow chart has been quite helpful for staff and for families to be able to follow and say, if I have this symptom or that symptom. About a month or so ago, maybe, they changed the flow charts to having A and B symptoms again. That was significant rather than all the symptoms grouped as one, which made it much more difficult to have students in school. But I think the problem with the flow charts is just exactly that they changed, and they changed a number of times, let's put it that way. So I know that there's frustration with our families, with our parents. Oh, it's changed again. I think there's even frustration with our staff. It's not something that comes from Evergreen School District. It's something that comes from the Department of Health guidance and then the Clark County Department of Health that ends up being distributed. And I'm not saying anything, everybody's working hard to try to keep our kids safe.
They have to change as the virus changes,
If we're trying to react to what we're seeing in terms of the actual experience, it's going to require some changes to the flow chart, which becomes frustrating because 1 week I might think it's this, and then a day later it's this, and then maybe 2 weeks later it's that. So that it does make it difficult, but I think all of those changes are to try to keep our students safe and also in school and not out of school inappropriately.
Yeah, right now it's what has to happen, and we're doing the best we can. Everybody is.
Yes.
So. Want to switch subjects a little bit. Just recently, our board announced that we're going for a replacement levy in February. I know it's extremely important for us here in the district. Can you tell people what that levy, those tax dollars, what kind of programs and things the money goes towards?
Yeah, I guess the first thing I would say is the word that you used before levy was replacement levy. It's a levy to replace an expiring levy that was passed in 2019 that ran for 2020, 21, 22. And so it is a replacement. It's not an additional tax on what our community has been paying to support the schools. The programs that the levy helps support are, within our schools on a daily basis, supports the staff, that it helps us have lower class sizes. It provides staffing to support our special education program, our English language learner program, just general, even classified staff, whether it's our maintenance workers. It helps support the day-to-day operations of the school in the program that we deliver for our kids. It also then, when you think about programs for kids, it helps provide funding for all of our extracurricular programs. Which we have great extracurricular programs. It helps provide extra staffing to support our fine arts program, our music program, our theater program. It has helped us provide extra staffing for additional nursing staff beyond what the state provides, counseling staff, social emotional support for our students. Any number of great programs for our kids, and we're just extremely appreciative of our community for providing the support, and also just extremely appreciative of the community, the awareness of how important these funds are for us to be able to maintain the programs that we've put in place for our students and for our family students in the district.
I know you mentioned extracurricular activities. I know recently I caught you at a middle school soccer game, which is something that the Levy Dollars supports, and it's brand new. We have the boys playing right now, and in January the girls. So middle school soccer programs just starting up. And what was that like to go see that game? And then also, can you explain why we decided to start the middle school soccer program?
Yeah, we did a need survey with our middle school students and families. What is it that you would like to have made available from the perspective of an activity? And soccer was a thing that came out quite high on that survey. And we absolutely believe in the district, and I believe that making connections with the school is a significant thing for our students. When you're participating, whether it's a sport, whether it's a club, some sort of an activity, band, choir, a theater, having a connection with the school is a significant thing for success in the classroom as well, and also being a part of the school community. So this is what Levy Dollars are for, is for trying to expand student programs. And so when that came through as a significant need, as I think back to the years in the district, another sport that was added a number of years ago, initiated in Evergreen, was girls bowling. And to see the numbers of kids being able to participate as teammates in a competitive, or even if it's non-competitive, in an activity, it just brings students closer to their school. It helps our students make friends with other kids. So when you think about soccer, it's the world sport, right? I mean, it's a sport that I'm an older gentleman. I didn't necessarily grow up watching. I love soccer now as an older gentleman, but it's certainly a sport that the world loves. Our school, it represents the world. The population of students that we have represents the world, and it's something that was looked at as a need and important to have. We've done that. I was happy to go out to Mackenzie and see, I think the first game might have been Y East and Frontier, I think it was the game, mm-hmm. And there were sixth graders out there. We had parents in the stands. Yeah. Last night, I happened to be in Camas for something, and driving by Doc Harris Stadium, the lights are on. What's going on over there? Drive over, Frontier, playing against Liberty Middle School. Got out, watched, my daughter and I watched the eighth graders play. Skilled, good players, coaches that are committed to the kids. It just was great. And it was cold. I mean, it was cold, but we had fans up in the stands in Camas, and I'm proud of our leadership in this, because not only is it good for our students, it's good for students in Camas now. Yep. Bowling is good for students in Vancouver, in Camas, in Battleground. And it's about, I've said it for 3 years, we're here for students. So the money that comes to us to support the levy, we need to make sure that that money then is serving our students. And this is a great example of how that happens.
And of course, it is taxpayers' money, so we are asking for them to, to make this decision. But there was a strategy to this with our bond that passed in 2018 that's helped build these amazing buildings that are still going up, to keep the tax rate the same. Can you explain a little bit how these partnered to do that?
Yeah, so when we passed the bond in 2018, which was the largest bond in the state of Washington, we were able to do that without increasing the tax rate, because a lot of our debt we'd paid it off, and so we were almost debt-free. We were able to structure that so that we would be able to leave the tax rate the same, and then we anticipated a little bit of a drop in the tax rate at this 22, 23, 24 in that time frame. And so we have structured bond payments when we've made the bond sales to have that bond rate drop a little bit. The bond rate is the rate that taxpayers pay on paying off the principal and interest. So it's kind of like if you buy a house, it's your mortgage. We levy from the taxpayers money to pay off the bond. It's like paying off the mortgage. But it was structured so that those rates would come down a little bit. The rates in 23, 24, and 25 in the levy will increase a little bit, but offset by the drop in the bond. Our strategy is to keep that overall tax rate in the district flat at about $3.89, $3.90 over the 3-year period. It's a very challenging time in the world as we respond to COVID. It's a time where we see at meetings, we see on TV, we see just a lot of kind of anger, discontent, just kind of people feeling not great about things. We absolutely have great programs for our kids. We have needs. We could have asked for more money. It was our choice not to do that. We believe it's very important for us to try to keep that overall tax rate flat, so that taxpayers have a sense of what it is that they're looking for when next year comes around. And it's not a new strategy. I will say that the school board, I've been in the district since 2000. Ever since I've been involved in levies, this is probably the 6th or 7th levy, 3rd or 4th bond. The school board has always taken the approach of the taxpayer needs in terms of increased tax rates, taxes for them as well. So it's not a new strategy, it's a continued strategy. But the strategy is to keep the overall tax rate flat. As that bond rate drops a little, the levy comes up a little bit, and keep the overall flat.
Thanks, Mike, for that explanation. And you talked about great programs that we have in our school. Our CTE programs are awesome, and it's been great that our CTE programs are able to have some unique competitions and events, including this one that was all about crashing up some cars.
We came down from Union, got picked up, and we came down here to Evergreen to crash some cars.
Yep, you heard that right. Students from Union, Mountain View, and Heritage High School were encouraged to crash up some cars in class. A CTE class, to be exact.
Yeah, it's physics through engineering.
And the goal for this competition?
We're making a crumple zone for a test car that soaks up as much force as you can get it to soak up.
So like later on in the future, we can have cars that are a lot safer.
And these competitors were the cream of the crop.
Each class at the school has their classroom competition, so these are the best from each period.
This exhibition is really what CTE programming is all about.
So to apply their learning in physics through engineering today to these projects, but which also have an end goal in career and in civic life, I think really makes it more meaningful for the students.
It may be a future career path, you never know.
But as for the immediate future, these teams were all about winning, or at least surviving.
We didn't do too bad. Our car crumpled okay, and then, and the test results were meh.
Did it do what you wanted it to do?
Yeah, it didn't break.
Aaliyah had nothing to worry about. In the end, her and her partner Aspen were the best of the bunch.
From Mountain View, Aspen and Aaliyah, the winners.
I didn't think we were gonna win.
So what's it feel like to be a winner?
Pretty awesome, I guess.
And Mike, it was a lot of fun to check this out. And the students also heard from an accident reconstructionist to see how these kind of physics can turn into a career, which is really what our programs are about, right?
Yeah, our CTE programs, and they're all focused on internships and getting into the community, finding jobs. It's just another one of the great programs we have in the district.
Yeah, and of course you could have caught that story on our social media, and we want you to follow us on social media so you can check out awesome stories like this one from Pioneer, where a 5th grade student, Ivy, felt that her classmates were a little down one day. So what did she do? Well, the next day, she presented every student in her class with a rose and an inspiring message, letting them know that she cared for them and that she was there for them when they needed her. And Mike, how awesome is that? Ivy's the best.
That's absolutely beautiful. It is the best. Nothing but respect for her.
And Mike, more good news. A local television station is going to be doing a story on Ivy and her Pioneer class. So as we leave you, here's where you can follow us on social media.
On Facebook, you'll find us at facebook.com/evergreenps. On Instagram, it's evergreen_public_schools. On Twitter, follow us at twitter.com/evergreenps. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Evergreen School District. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And on LinkedIn, you'll find us at linkedin.com/school/Evergreen PS.